So I think we were discussing about fintech. We are looking at the various innovations in fintech. We have spoken about cryptocurrencies. Then we also had seen open banking. Then insurtech, insurance. Then regtech, regulating these transactions. Then we also have spoken about robo-advisors, right? Robo-advisors. Next one is unbanked services. Unbanked services. What are these unbanked services? Those sections of society who are not part of formal banking system. Those sections of society who are not part of a formal banking system. For example, in India, what percentage of people have bank accounts? After financial inclusion, everything else, only around 55% of the people have only bank accounts. Remaining 45% of people don't have any bank accounts. So these fintech can be used to provide banking services to these sections of society also, those who are not part of formal banking system. This is what we say. Next one is cyber security. Cyber security. The question was asked last year also in your General Studies paper 3. Cyber security. Obviously, this in a fintech and cyber security always go together, because what is the immediate consequence is cyber crimes, mostly financial in nature. So these are the different innovations that we have seen in fintech. These are all the different innovations that we have seen in fintech in the past. You can say maximum 10 years, or maximum 10 years. It's not more than that. Now proceeding further, right? Let us look at there are 4 categories of users of fintech. Broadly, there are 4 categories of users of fintech. This financial technology is usually used broadly by 4 different types of users. First one is B2B. B2B, business to business. That is for banks within the banking system. Second, business to banks to. Second one is banks to business clients. Business clients, from banks to business clients. We are talking about big businesses, large businesses. Third one is B2C. Banks to small businessmen. We are talking about banks to small businessmen, small and petty businesses. And finally B2C. Fourth one is business to consumers. Business to consumers. Business to consumers. So we talk about 4 different types here. First one is within the banking system, from one bank to other bank, as we discussed about clearing houses and everything else. Second one is banks to large businesses, large business houses. Third one is banks to small businesses. And finally, banks to consumers. For example, if you look at the case of India, all these mudra loans and other small business loans given by the government are part of business to banks to small businesses. When we talk about banking system in India, these are the things which you will be studying as part of your economy also. One of the important reasons why there is opposition against privatization of public sector banks is that public sector banks are used by the government to promote welfare. They are used to promote welfare in the form of providing loans to small businesses through various government schemes, which is not done by the private sector banks, in spite of the fact that we have so many banking sector regulations also to do the same. And that is the reason why this fintech is used basically to provide for the small businesses more loans also. Again, in your agriculture topic, you study about KCC, Kisan credit cards, right? These are all part of bank to small businesses. So these are all the different types of users you find in fintech, right? Next, what are the major issues with the fintech technology? What are the major problems? What are the major issues? What are the major problems? First one is cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrencies. The major problem here is cryptocurrencies. What is the issue here? There is no one to regulate these cryptocurrencies. There is no one to regulate these cryptocurrencies. Right? There is no one to regulate these cryptocurrencies. And their valuation is also not transparent. Their valuation is also not transparent or clear. For example, if you have brought Bitcoin in 2012, if you have brought Bitcoin worth say 1 lakh rupees in 2012, you would have become at least 1,000 crores by this time. In those days also we did not have 1 lakh rupees, right? You don't have to prepare for UPS or anything like that. If you had spent all the amount of money that you are spending right now on coaching in 2012 itself on buying Bitcoin, imagine. But you are not so lucky. At that point of time also you are BPL, now also BPL. Here BPL does not mean Bitcoin poverty line. It is much more than that. So that is the thing. The basic issue here is that there is no proper valuation of these Bitcoins. What is the difference between the currency issued by the governments and these Bitcoins or cryptocurrencies or Ethereum or any other Bitcoin? What is the difference between the government central bank issued currency and these cryptocurrencies? Pardon? Yes, first and foremost, the currency issued by the government is what is called a legal tender. Legal tender. That means when RBI issues these notes, 2,000 rupees notes or 500 rupees notes or whatever it may be, it is backed by the assurance by the RBI that in case if you do not want your currency, you will get back the same value either in terms of gold or something else. That means there is always legal backing. Whereas in case of cryptocurrencies, there is nothing like legal backing. How do we know what is the value of Bitcoin? There is no legal backing as such. There is no legal backing. So if you are buying Bitcoins or cryptocurrency or anything like that, tomorrow suddenly the concerned organization stops trading. What happens? This is what exactly happened right now in USA. Some of these Bitcoin organizations, they have stopped trading also. People had invested the millions and billions of dollars there. All of them had become part of BPL, started preparing for APSC, American Public Service Commission, right, in America. That is where the problem is. Next problem with this Bitcoin is that, next issue with this Bitcoin is misuse. There is a lot of scope for misuse of these cryptocurrencies. There is a lot of scope for misuse of cryptocurrencies. How this misuse can take place? Because it can be easily used by terror organizations or by financial frauds. By terror organizations or by financial frauds. Right? For example, what I can do is here, I want to fund terrorism, but I want to escape UAPA and other legislation. Simple. I will buy Bitcoin and I will sell it to someone in America, and they will withdraw that money. Who is that someone? Nobody knows. Who is that someone? Nobody knows. Right? So it is very easy to finance terror. I am giving new thoughts, new solutions for you. Tomorrow, if you want to become future terrorists, right? This is what it is very easy because it's very difficult to trace the trail of a currency in Bitcoin because it changes hands so many times to so many places that who is the final receiver, nobody knows exactly. It is almost impossible. It is almost impossible. There is a lot of scope for what we call this terror financing, right? The next problem with Bitcoin is that there is no accountability in the system. There is no accountability. There is no accountability in this system. At the end of the day, we do not have any laws, proper laws in countries around the world to fix accountability on the part of these financial transactions. There is no accountability, right? We do not have any proper laws. And you look at the stand of government of India. Government of India says that they don't recognize these cryptocurrencies. At the same time, the government says that all these transactions will be taxed at 30%. You want money, but you don't want to recognize. In a heads I win, tails you lose. That is what Gujarat is, right? We want all the taxes 30%, but we don't want to recognize these currencies because if you have to recognize, then you have to come out with accountability mechanisms. The government neither has the technology nor the manpower to fix accountability mechanisms because any person with a laptop can start an exchange. Any person with a laptop can start a Bitcoin. He can start it, anyone. People will buy it. After some point of time, you will say thank you very much. The exchange has stopped taking transactions. That is what we don't have any proper laws, rules and regulations also. We have FATA is there, but they simply also don't have any kind of proper rules and regulations when it comes to trading in these cryptocurrencies. This is where another issue, right? So these are all the problems with the cryptocurrencies. Then in recent times, as part of Fintech, we have seen other challenges. What are they? You must have seen in newspapers nowadays regularly. These loan applications, loan apps. Another problem, another major challenge in Fintech is loan apps. Loan apps. What do? They provide either unsecured loans. Unsecured means there will not be any collateral security. There will not be any collateral security. Unsecured loans will be provided, and they will charge huge amount of rate of interest. Charge huge amount of rate of interest. They will charge huge amount of rate of interest. They will provide unsecured loans and they will charge huge amount of rate of interest. In recent times, in most of the states, what we are witnessing is they were harassing all those debtors, those who have taken loans. It led to so many suicides also in most of the states. It led to so many suicides also. People were forced to commit suicide because they could not repay the loans. Mostly these apps were developed by the Chinese only, Chinese loan apps, right? That is the reason why the other day our finance minister also had spoken about regulating these loan apps, and they have requested Google Play Store to remove most of those illegal apps also. This is another problem with Fintech, another major challenge with Fintech, right? Then what are the other challenges? Next one is, as we discussed, cyber and financial crimes. Cyber and financial crimes. What are the crimes that we are talking about here? Someone will ask you, to click on a link. Suddenly, when you click on it, within seconds, the entire amount of money from your account will be withdrawn within seconds. You don't have to worry because you want to be on the other side, right? So that is what cyber crimes, cyber and financial crimes. And in India, again, these crimes are again becoming very, very severe also. Why? Because as we discuss later in police reforms, in law and order administration, police simply do not have the kind of technology nor personnel to identify those people who are involved in these cyber crimes. They simply don't have either technology or cost. This is another major challenge with what we call fintech, right? And on top of it, recently the government also could not come out with the data protection bill. This is another major challenge. Data protection bill. Data protection. Why? Because if any data becomes a part of web, it becomes difficult to, almost impossible to ensure the privacy of your data. And what most of these social networking websites or other loan applications, what they do, they will ask all your basic details and they will sell those details for a huge premium to others, and there is no privacy as far as your data is concerned. And obviously, nowadays another problem here is that everything is linked to your Aadhaar. Automatically it becomes very easy for the other person to find out everything about yourself, because everything is linked to your Aadhaar. Through Aadhaar I can find out your income tax returns. Through Aadhaar I can find out your real estate links. Through Aadhaar I can find out all your bank transactions, because your bank account is also linked to Aadhaar and PAN. So this cyber security is also a major issue in financial technology. And then finally, the last question that we have to answer here is what is the future of this fintech? What should be done? What is the future? What is the future of this fintech? What can be done? So this is where we say that as we study also later in our Indian administration, in the age of globalization, we say governance means regulation. In the age of globalization, governance means regulation. Governance means regulation. So the government should focus on effective regulation of this digital financial system. Digital financial system. And the government has to be proactive. It has to be proactive. Till now, what we find is that, forget about being reactive, what we are witnessing is that government is inactive. Till now, the government is inactive. And more importantly, it requires global cooperation. It needs global cooperation. It needs a global cooperation. And within the country, the government should keep a close tab on the activities of these financial transactions, the digital financial transactions. Government needs to have a close tab, watch on all these activities, on these digital financial transactions, right? And it should be proactive in preventing the crimes. It should be proactive in preventing the crimes. What is the problem here? India is still using second or third generation cyber security measures. We are still using second or third generation cyber security measures. Second or third generation. In Western Europe and America, they are using fifth generation. So upgradation of technologies, very important. Upgradation of technologies. It is very, very important. Upgradation of technologies is very, very important. Right? Next thing the government can do is use this technology for financial inclusion. Positively, the government must use this technology for financial inclusion. Technology for financial inclusion. When we say financial inclusion, we are talking about banking, non-banking, insurance, investment, mutual funds, right? The government should also use this technology to expand the secondary market for equities, secondary market for equities in the country, right? Secondary market for equities in the country. And of course, we definitely need more laws to prevent and punish cyber crimes. Prevent and punish cyber crimes. More laws. Prevent and punish cyber crimes. Right? This is what you can write. It can be asked in your paper 2 or 3 or any other papers of your US. So from this, let us move on to the next topic, Human Development Index, HDI. If you have any doubts, you can ask. Any doubts? Pardon? I did not get you. Space. Space. Okay. Okay. You want me to take that? I am talking about doubts about what we have done. You want any new topics? You can put them in our Telegram group or any other groups. I will discuss all of them. Right? Space weaponization. Okay, no problem. But that is part of science and technology. You are forcing cleverly to teach science and technology. So I like your intelligence, right? Right? You have studied Herbert Simon, right? Sir, yes or no? Simon, you have studied, right? And you are trying to use Simon in a different manner. A rational cost-benefit analysis for yourself. Right? No problem. I will take up a spatial organization also. As long as I said, I know that you don't know anything. I know that you don't know anything. I don't have to know anything. Right? That is the advantage. Your ignorance is my bliss. Right? So don't worry. I will take up. Tomorrow you will say biotechnology. Day after tomorrow you will say robotics. Right? After that, you will talk about the difference between gene technology and genetic technologies. Right? Yeah, there is no limit. So let us start this Human Development Index. Look at it, this one. This HDI is developed by United Nations. It is developed by United Nations to measure a country's social and economic development. To measure a country's social and economic development. Right? This HDI Human Development Index, it composes of 4 important areas. It consists of 4 important areas where the measurement is done. First one is gross national per capita. Gross national per capita, or what we can say per capita income, PCI. Second, life expectancy at birth. Life expectancy at birth. Third, expected years of schooling. Expected years of schooling. And fourth one is mean years of schooling. Mean, MEAN, average, mean years of schooling. So let us first start with why do we need FDI? why do we need a HDI, Human Development Index? Why do we need? Because earlier, how did the United Nations categorize the countries around the world? They categorize countries around the world only in terms of per capita income. Per capita income. That is the reason why we had different types of countries: underdeveloped countries, developing countries, and developed countries. So it was found that this per capita income was not a sufficient measure to calculate, to evaluate the development of a country. It is necessary but not sufficient, and that is the reason why from per capita income United Nations progressed towards this Human Development Index, HDI. Later it was found that this HDI also was not sufficient. That is the reason why they had come out with MDPI, Multidimensional Poverty Index, when it was found that HDI also was not sufficient. MDPI we can discuss one more day. Right, now let us look at the HDI, Human Development Index. As I said, it takes into consideration four important aspects. First one is per capita income. Second one is life expectancy, birth, number of years of schooling expected, and average number of years of schooling. These are all the four measures that they take into consideration. And how do they calculate all these things? I think we can see tomorrow in our class. Tomorrow we look at all those things. Any other topic also that you want me to discuss, you can always mention them. I will discuss them. Right? So that is what it is, and we are talking about this secretariat reforms. Right? That as usual we will start after 1 minute, right? I will come back in within 1 minute, right?